Very quickly on the two most popular teams in baseball clinching their divisions last night at minute 40 of the podcast. The Dodgers, after dropping that first game ending on the triple play, beat the Padres the last two evenings to win their 11th NL West title in the last 12 years. There was a quote from Dave Roberts that I thought was very interesting. We got a great email about this, Jordan. I don't know if you read it. But the Dave Roberts quote was something along the lines of, sorry, I'm just pulling it up right now. Dave Roberts, this is from @Blake Williams. He says, Dave Roberts said he's surprised by the panic outside the clubhouse over the Dodgers, despite them having the best record in baseball. He said the clubhouse hasn't been worried. Quote, we've still had a pretty good season. Totally fine with me. Urgency is a very complicated thing internally. If every manager was to kind of latch onto fan sentiment and kind of amplify that energy back into the clubhouse, all those managers would get fired immediately. The job of the manager is to make sure people don't panic. The job of a fan is to panic.
Yep.
Right? Like that.
Yep.
And so I have no issue with him saying this. Now, granted, I'm worried about the Dodgers because they don't have any starting pitching, but like, what's Dave Roberts going to say? Right? Yeah. I mean, we're screwed. No, like he's going to maintain irrational positivity.
Yeah, and I totally, again, this email we got from Dylan, a Dodgers fan who's really frustrated that they haven't been able to make more of these opportunities over the last decade, and that's totally valid. Again, but to Jake's point, like you have a different job and a priority than Dave Roberts, and I also liked what Andrew Friedman said in the champagne celebration last night, where everyone's like, all right, Andrew, like, how are you going to handle these expectations are so great? How are you? He's like, high expectations is a lot better than the alternative, which is being bad or irrelevant or not trying to win. And so while they might be heading for another devastating postseason exit, as most of these teams are, that's how this works.
You could be the Rockies.
Yeah, again, like here they are again with another division title, with another champagne celebration, with Shohei Ohtani, with like the best record in baseball, despite all these issues, which, yes, we will talk about. And yes, we will say we don't believe in them because how are they going to get out? That's fine. The Dodgers very still might win the World Series. And you can say that about pretty much all these teams because that's how the playoffs work. And we will keep repeating that over and over in the coming weeks. And if they lose, that doesn't mean they're completely absolved of criticism for the team building and some of the things that they were counting on. That's all fine. And I understand if you're a fan, you say, Dave Roberts, how can he has to be, he's the common denominator with these teams that keep falling short. I get that. That's fine. But as far as your point, in response to Dave Roberts acting calm and confident, you're 100% correct. What do you want these guys to say? I just, the urgency, when we say urgency, all these guys are saying the same thing in every clubhouse. Okay. And so whether that's a good or a bad thing, I understand that frustration from a fan, but that's just kind of part of the gig. And so that's kind of how I feel about that. Now, all that said, last thing on the Dodgers, I mean, holy crap, right? Shohei Ohtani has like one of the greatest games we've ever seen since then. He has a hit and a run in every single game. He had the game-winning hits on Wednesday and Thursday. He is 10 for his last 11 with runners in scoring position. He has more hits with runners in scoring position than I think 8 teams over the last week. And yeah, he's at 400 total bases, which we have not seen since 2001. So that Ohtani fella seemed to be enjoying his first champagne celebration. Remember, when they clinched a postseason berth, they didn't pop bottles. And so this was really the first time we got to see Ohtani really party it up. And it was as cool as you would expect. So that is the Dodgers. They are amazing. And they are still trying to clinch this 1 seed, which is, I guess, still on the table as they are, I think, a game and a half up on the Phillies.
So I was at Yankees last night. If you want to read my thoughts on Garrett Cole, that is up at Yahoo Sports. Cole, who became the punchline of baseball after throwing up 4 fingers and intentionally walking Rafael Devers. I believe he's allowed just 1 run in like 16 innings since doing that. He was dominant last night against the Orioles, pitching into the 7th inning. The night really belonged to him. Yankees beat the brakes off of Baltimore. Aaron Judge hit one of the higher home runs I've ever seen him hit at Yankee Stadium. Felt like it caromed off the moon. And then the Yankees partied, which always leads to some interesting sights and sounds.
Yeah, 58 home runs for Aaron Judge, 5 straight games with a homer.
Oh, quickly. This was a moment I will never forget. Okay. We're in we do the postgame celebration where we go back to the press conference room and Aaron Boone is in there. And somebody asks, Aaron Judge, he's been so good, homers in 5 straight games. And Boone just goes, I didn't even realize that. Right. to be the manager of the New York Yankees and to just not realize that your best player is home ran 5 straight games is so wild.
But it's a good reminder that Aaron Judge is the least of Aaron Boone's concerns.
He doesn't think about him. He's just like, yeah, he goes up there and bangs.
And I think, again, you can apply a lot of the same sentiments to the Dodgers in the sense that should this team be held to the highest of standards? Should we criticize them when they fail to reach the World Series again? All these things are true. But after last year's disaster, they went out and got Juan Soto. They made a bunch of signs. Like, they were like, no, not happening again. And they won the AL East, which is not a small thing. And so again, like we said, it doesn't mean they are absolved of criticism for some of their decisions and some of their roster building and that's all fine, but you got to give them credit. This team, which has assembled a lot of some of the best players in the world, best pitchers in the world, they did it. And there were times this year where we weren't sure they did. And once again, they were like, no, we're still the Yankees. And I think you got to tip your cap at some point for that.